much and just keep kissing it. Are we recording yet? Okay.
Yeah.
We're
Hey,
recording
man,
now.
dude, you can kiss his face from a distance, bro, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. This is what? I didn't say that.
Hey,
Okay.
it'd be the only kiss I've had in a long time, bro. I'll tell you that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah. But who knows? I might find love any day out here. You know what I mean?
everything's
You
possible.
did say the women are beautiful.
Oh, oh man, they are. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The women in
Whoever's
Spain.
cracking and pulling tape right now, that's
That was
probably
me.
a no-no.
Sorry.
Open the
I was
bottle.
taking the label off of my water, so when I drink it, I'm not.
Promoting anything don't want to miss out on an advertising opportunity.
Right.
Hear that, Fiji? Fiji, it's Evian. It's you we really want, not this Ozark. No, we could take Ozarka. Anyway.
It's great, though.
Okay.
Yeah.
Justin,
And
where
microplastics,
are
I'm
you?
sure, are filtered through the water. And cheers. That's all I have to say about that.
Sure. Am I throwing this off, by the way, without having
No,
a really
it's
nice,
me.
clean white space? No, the white space behind me. Is this a little busy?
It's fine. I don't care.
Okay.
Got to do what we got to do, bro.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm Mark, and I'm in Springfield, Mo. Where are
Hi,
you,
Mark.
Justin?
Let's start over.
Okay.
Hey,
Great.
guys.
Hey.
In.
Hey.
Where's everybody tuning in from today?
Well, I was going to show you. You guys go first, and I'll do a really quick tour. I'll show you guys where I'm at. Mark, go
The
ahead.
best for last. Mark in Springfield, Mo.
I'm Jessica, and I'm tuning in from good old Nixa, Missouri.
Okay, I'm just going to take a quick second.
Mark, you and I are so close we could like touch each other.
You guys have to have like some Inspector Gadget arms. So
Yeah,
I'm in Malaga, Spain. It has been perfect weather, like mid 70s and sunny. I was at the beach. I swam in the Mediterranean yesterday, but it's a little bit cloudy today, so you guys aren't going to be able to see. But I found this amazing Airbnb with this absolutely just such a wonderful woman of a Airbnb host, and she's got this really great spot. I'm just going to kind of show you around really quick. So I'll kind of walk backwards here. I'll just kind of, so this is like a little living space situation, but then this is what's cool. So as soon as I get out here, this is a sitting area. I don't know if you can see, but that's the Mediterranean right there.
Oh.
And like, this is like right in the middle of Malaga, Spain. So like, if it was nice, I could show you guys, I can see the mountains over there. I can see, it's crazy. It's crazy. And her name is Merci. She's a sweetheart.
Merci.
And then there's a Swedish guy staying here who cooked a bunch of awesome food last night. And anyway, so that's what's up. So I was going to do the call out there, like, and have the beach and the sun behind me, but it's cloudy today. So we'll do it in my room here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Beautiful. I love
man,
that.
wish I was there.
I wish you were too, sweetie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So you look rested, Justin.
Do I? Really? Man, thank you so much for saying that, because I was feeling the opposite. I mean, I feel good, but I'm glad about the topic today, because I was feeling pretty rough. I had a few days of travel and then sharing some close spaces with some people, which I think you have a funny story. Hopefully you'll share in a second about that. Just lots of human stuff, human noises and human closeness, and then a lot of travel from Rabat, Morocco to Madrid, and then Madrid to Malaga, and then I got to Malaga, and I met some other people that were visiting here, staying in the Airbnb, and ended up doing a little partying over the weekend, a little less self-care and a little different kind of self-care. And I was feeling a little rough. And anyway, yeah. So thank you for that. Cause I, you know how it is. Like, you look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, oh, whoa, do I want to be on the podcast today? Cause,
I said to somebody this morning, so I had my teeth cleaned today. What's our topic today? Are we going to talk about
Yes,
self-care,
so today's
Jessica?
topic is going to be all about self-care. And I'm particularly excited to get into this to discussion because I think self-care for men and self-care for women has two different interpretations, and even more so, self-care for women even splits into different categories when you're a mother versus when you don't have children. Whether you're single or whether you're married, I think the definition changes throughout life. And I'm really interested to dive into the difference between self care and being selfish, right? And what the difference is, and how it can be distorted based on different seasons of your life, social grooming, all of those kinds of things. Self care is something that I have actually had to learn how to do because I'm naturally inclined to serve everyone else, and then myself last. And so I negotiate a lot of times, or I negotiate my own self care, and to my own detriment sometimes. So I thought it would be a great topic for us to dive into and to get everybody's kind of POV on different seasons of self care and what that looks like. What are your different types of self care? And then maybe winding up our topic today with how do you do self care when you don't want to? And maybe that statement is lost on a lot of people, but it's certainly not lost on me. And maybe once we get there, we'll be able to help other people say me too. I think we can get myself, it's like I'd rather sit in bed and binge Netflix, but I know I need to get up and take a shower, right? And so how do you stop the TV and go take the shower, right? When you know that's what you need to do, but their bed is calling you, the nap is calling you, the eating the chocolate is calling you. You're tempted to do something else. It would be in the long run self-sabotaging, and you choose self-care instead. So how do we bridge that gap for people, for ourselves? What does that look like? One of the things I love about this podcast is that we are sharing real lived experiences and current struggles, and we get to share in a way that helps us implement in our own lives. So it holds us accountable and holds us to task, so to speak. So today's episode will be very raw and real. And I'd like to talk about, especially for my neurodivergent friends, what overstimulated feels like. And when everything around you feels like you can hear the electricity, that's how heightened your senses are. And how do you regulate your nervous system when you just want to punch a hole in the wall or something else? So, sounds like you had an experience this morning. So why don't you kick off that part, and then let's start with, what does it look like for you to be overstimulated, or where you have a lot of things on your task, on your mind, and you're trying to choose which one to do? And then is there a task that you avoid, but it's part of self-care? Like, what does that look like for you? Mark, you went and had an interesting trip somewhere this morning that a lot of people neglect as part of their self-care.
Yeah, which is interesting to me. I had my teeth cleaned this morning, and I do that every 6 months and have my entire life. And I know there's a lot of people that don't do that on a regular basis. They don't go to the dentist. They don't like to go to the dentist. They don't, whatever it is, whatever. And, I feel fortunate that I was raised with parents that was one of the annual, semi-annual, or every 6 months ritual, as the dentist suggests, right? And while there, we were talking about this podcast, and she said to me, "Oh, and we were also talking about some of the other things that I'm doing, which is I'm in front of the camera more now." And she said, "Oh, I'm not good with being in front of the camera." And I said, "I've made peace with being in front of the camera because I'm not particularly good in front of the camera in terms of judging myself and being critical of myself. I've decided to just start getting in front of the camera because there's things I've wanted to do for a long time, including acting. And I put off doing that for as long as I possibly could because I kept saying, when I'm ready, when I'm ready. And by when I'm ready meant I need to lose a certain amount of weight. I need to look a certain way.
Yeah.
And this is an image that I've had in my head since a child. And this goes into that body dysmorphia sort of thing. And I I've realized at this later stage in life, and I still believe that I'm in a right smack dab in the middle of midlife at 59 years old, that there's never going to be a time that's right, and now is the time to just get out there and say, this is who I am, this is me, this is
Yeah.
the natural me, and take it or leave it. Mostly mark, accept that this is what you look like and this is who you are, and do the thing, and it doesn't matter. It really ultimately it doesn't matter. This shell, this earthly skin that we have is not the essence of who we are. And yet, okay, so I believe that. I also believe that this body of ours is, as a spiritual person, as a person who believes in God, that this is our temple. That
Mhm.
I believe the Spirit lives in me, and I believe, and this was the body that I was given, and it is my duty to take care of it. Um, it's my it's my job to keep it as healthy and as optimized as I possibly can. And so I do. I'd say I do more than probably the minimum. I go every 6 months to have my teeth cleaned. I try to maintain what would be considered a protocol of basic hygiene. I shower usually twice a day, but at least once, certain things. Um, but beyond that, the self-care for me started with just by making the choice to accept myself for who I am, all the flaws, all the foibles, in and out, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, all of it, that I am human and I'm not perfect. And I'm choosing to present that to the world to say, I know that, everybody. I know that I could lose another 5 to 10 pounds. I know that I know that I probably should put on a little more muscle, this, that, and other thing. And I'm working towards it. But for me, it really starts and it ends kind of with just acceptance. What happened to me, I've been doing a lot of road trips, and uh, I just got done with a 3 week road trip, and I cut it short by about 2 or 3 days because I hit a wall.
Mhm.
And I was in Santa Monica. I was looking at a sunset, and the next day I was supposed to drive to Mexico to meet up with a friend who invited me down, kind of last minute. It was a very spontaneous thing, and I was all in. I was so excited about this. This is a high school friend. We see each other 3 or 4 times a year, but this was an extra thing, and I just thought, how cool is this? I'm going to meet up with a friend in Mexico. And there was a part of it was like, oh, we'll take some pictures and we're going to post them, and we're going to show off that we have this relationship still, and that'll be great, and hopefully it'll be encouraging. It'll encourage our friends to also do that, to meet up and to be together. That's the part of it, but there was also some ego related to it. As I was looking at the sunset, I realized there's a lot waiting for me at home, and I started to feel overwhelmed, and I got homesick. I was missing Carrie, my girlfriend. It had been 3 weeks ultimately since we had I saw her briefly as I was passing through, driving from New Jersey to Palm Springs. But I was missing her, and I was feeling like I reached my limit. And I decided then and there that I can't go. I'm not going to go to Mexico. And I
Mm.
called Eric and I said, Eric, I'm not going to give you the attention that you deserve. I'm going to be distracted. I'm going to be thinking about when I'm leaving. I'm going to be thinking about how much extra time it's going to take me to get home. I need to leave. And that was a that was me paying attention, hearing the message, and obeying it without question. It was a very definitive calling of go home. You need to go
Mm.
home. While on this trip, there's so much I could cover here. Gosh, listen, I got affirmation that I am going to be pursuing acting in a way that, and believe that I am going to be a working actor.
Mm.
I'm going to be a really good actor, everyone. I am doing the work,
Of
and
course.
I have, thank you, and I have people that supported me. My client Larry and Lucy, his wife, gave me master classes in acting and performing while I was there. My acting coach, Jonathan Licknicky, I just want to give him a shout out that he and I had an amazing talk, and he
Mm.
is encouraging me to be a great actor. He's helping me to be a great actor. But in addition to that, he's helping me to be a better person. I reached out to him, and I'm going to share something. I don't know. I was going to say I'm going to share something vulnerable. Everything can be vulnerable. But here's something about self-care that I got to, guys. I have been a cannabis user for the better part of the past 5 years. Once I
Mm.
became an empty nester, I reintroduced cannabis into my life. And what I've discovered is it's been some form of treatment for me as I've dealt with ADHD. It's
Mm.
calmed me down. And I
Mm.
was a very young uh, adapter to cannabis, and I didn't realize what it was about me using it, that I felt drawn to it, but it has to do with how it calmed me down. It calmed down my anxiousness. It calmed down my thoughts. And it was useful then. I think to some degree it's useful now. I'm not a doctor. I'm not an ADHD expert. All I can tell you is from my point of view, I feel like it's helped me and served me. But I think I've realized one thing, that as much as I've thought it doesn't have the same effects as alcohol does, it still has effects. And I've been paying attention to my ability to memorize things, and how as I'm aging, and then I've questioned, oh, will I be able to memorize lines the way that I need to while
Mm.
also being a regular cannabis user?
Mm.
And it I had a great talk. This was one of the talks that I had with Jonathan that really was really brought me to the point of, okay, I'm I need to find out what it's like for a long extended period of time to not be using cannabis on any level. And so I made a commitment and to myself that and it started on November 10th, that I'm not going to do this until my 60th birthday, which would be March 10th. So exactly 4 months. And I've done some extended tolerance checks in the past, like, hey, can I live without this? And I've done it for weeks. I've probably done it for more than a month. Um, and it's always been fine. But then I get it back in, and I find it to be at times helps me with creativity, helps me to sleep, it helps me to calm down at the end of a long day if I've worked really hard, that sort of thing. But it's the last thing in my life. It's the last of whether it's a stimulant, a substance of anything that could cause any sort of spike or dopamine or anything like that. I'm not
Mm.
I don't drink alcohol anymore. I'm not a cannabis. I don't do caffeine. I don't do nicotine. I've refined my diet to where I'm not doing refined sugar anymore.
Mm.
So the one thing that could sort of alter my mind or alter my thoughts or just change me is cannabis.
Wow.
And I thought, I need to know what it's like to for me in my lifetime. Ultimately, I need to find out, who is Mark without something that has either been a support of of a help, a crutch, because for a long time it was food. Um, And then there probably has been time. There's certainly been times throughout my life where alcohol supported it, or I've been a smoker. I've done caffeine. I've done things that have helped me in social settings to deal with
Yeah.
social anxiety. And so that's the biggest today thing for me. I am 4 days in. I feel fantastic. I'm really excited to see how this goes. And I have a lot I want to accomplish and a lot I wanted to do. And I want to see, can I do it with just me? And I want to learn what the baseline for me is. What is Mark's normal?
Mm.
And the question is, and I talked to Betsy about this, Justin. I had a very emotional conversation with Betsy. And
Mm.
what came up was there was some fear in this. Like I
Mm-hmm.
thought, should I go to some sort of 12-step program to talk about this? Because I
Mm-hmm.
got a little freaked out about not having something that I could lean on to get me through.
Yeah.
Mm.
And the question came up, am I good enough? Will I be enough without
Without.
something?
Mm.
Because throughout my life, it's been masking it's been either masking or putting something into my body that could alter me and either give me a different freedom, uh, change my disposition. It could loosen me up, those sorts of things. And so far, I'm on my way to feeling like I'm in a good spot, and I'm excited. So anyway,
What
there's
was
so much
your
more.
what was your frequency of use? Just whenever you
Could
wanted it?
yeah, but it could
Okay.
have been daily. It could have been
Okay.
daily, and for the cannabis world, that it could have been somewhere between a 5 milligram dose to a 10 milligram dose. Um, it could vary from the drinks, cannabis drinks, to edibles, to flower. It was just it could be anything from just enough to like a puff or two, and
Yeah.
I'm different now. I'm just different. There's something, and yeah, but it could have been daily. But as I said, there was many times with my traveling. If I'm in a business situation, just depending on who needed to show up, and
Uh,
how clear I needed to be, and that sort of thing, is where I made those choices. I think I tried to keep professionalism in mind, and who I was representing beyond myself in any given setting. I mean, we're always representing more than I think, and to some level or degree, we our families, our children, our partners, our work, on and on and on. And I've so yeah. I mean, let's just call it daily at times, and then other times, once or
you
twice a
make a
week.
you make a great point about the fear of, if I take this out of my life, will I be the same person? Will I be able to access this higher level of awareness, right? Will I be able to quiet my mind? Will I be able to create? Will I be able to engage in the same ways? And people who struggle with, or who are on the neurodivergent spectrum, who struggle with managing their mental state or regulating themselves, it's like low hanging fruit to use substances, because the
Yep.
real work is in developing the systems and processes that keep us aligned and that keep us moving forward. And, I can really relate to that a lot. My last week was pretty dysregulated, and you
Mm-hmm.
could name 100 different things and then also name nothing, right? It's one of those weeks where everything and nothing was just about enough to send me over the edge. I don't know what over the edge looks
Yeah,
like, but I felt like I was knocking on the door. you
I could
know
tell you.
it it was it was the things like sitting in church, and my son was sitting next to me, and he's had a bit of a stuffy nose, but he also is sensory seeking at times. And so he spent a good 5 minutes. What felt like, 50 minutes probably was maybe a minute, but, he sat there and went, like the sensation of blowing air in and out of your nose. And I tried to calmly like redirect the behavior while also managing my own disruption, because that was like nails on a chalkboard for me. I was just like about to, now it's make now that makes me sneeze. But I could feel the hair on my neck just like standing
Mm-hmm.
up. I could feel myself wanting to turn inside out. And yeah, also having to maintain a homeostasis that didn't shame him or blame him or say, stop doing that, because I know what it feels like. I have eczema, but I also struggle with a dysregulated nervous system at times. So scratching was a way of relieving tension in my body. And also because the eczema was there, that was like a real thing. It wasn't like I was just phantom itching, right? But when my nervous system
Right.
would get excited, this itching would start. And so there was all that part that was playing, but I used to get spanked for scratching. So I know what it feels like to try to relieve tension in your body and then get punished for it. So, that script is running in my head. So I'm trying to keep calm. He's over here, with his nose, and people are looking around at us. And I just want to go, stop.
Yes.
The preacher's mic is just tick, tick, ticking a little bit, and the last song leader was a little bit off. And I'm just feeling like about to I feel like an explosion is coming, and at the
Right.
same time I'm trying to model how to manage yourself and care for someone else. And so in that moment, self-care looked like for me getting up and removing myself from the room. So I got up and I took him out to the hallway and I said, let's get you a tissue, let's move our body to try to regulate, and get a cold drink of water. And so like hot and cold therapies can regulate the nervous system, moving your body, tension. So he and I do this thing where we put our hands against each other and we kind of do like a push and tension back and forth, like a push back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said, so let's blow your nose a couple times and see if that calms down to where you feel like you can sit still. It didn't work. So then we go out to the hall and we're sitting in the hallway in the chair, and he leans over to snuggle up to me, which in an already heightened, overstimulated way, you don't want to be touched, but you have a child seeking attention and connection.
Comfort.
And, for those of you who are just listening, you won't be able to see this, but he took one finger and started kind of like petting me with one finger, stroking my arm, and I'm just like, I know this feels good to you, but it feels horrible to me,
Yeah.
and I can see two worlds, like me going, stop touching me, and being open and honest and unmasked, right? And that freedom to just be yourself, but also being yourself hurts someone else. And I think that's a difference between what is self-care and being selfish. And self-care is saying, do you need something, or what can I do for you that also helps me, right? And then instead of shaming, blaming, taking your needs and putting them above someone else. So self-care is never going to make someone else lose or hurt someone else. Does that make sense? Yep. And that's a balance that I've had to learn as a mother, that, me sitting there suffering in silence isn't helping him either, because it's not teaching advocacy and honesty about what's happening in my body, right? And it is modeling self-control. It is modeling, patience, but it's not being honest. And so I had to say, is there something else you could do with your hand? Could we hold hands? Could we do something else? Because that does not feel good to me, but hugging you does. Or I can see that you want to connect. I don't want to be touched like that though. Yep. And that just takes on a level of awareness that I don't know that we all have. And sometimes, it feels burdensome to have to do different when you know different. But it's difficult for me. There's things that I have done to try to mitigate that. Like I'll wear earplugs around the house a lot,
Mm.
um, because it's just a little overstimulating, mostly when I'm having to do a task that is not fun and everyone else in the house is having fun. Like they're
Right.
playing and off doing what they want to do, and I'm having to do the disciplined work of tidying the house or doing something.
Hmm.
Right.
And I can hear it already. Someone out there that's going to say, well, your kids are old enough that they can help. Sometimes that's not the kind of help I need.
Right.
Sometimes doing it myself is the help I need. And
Right.
my son knows that. We were on our way home and he was like talking about needing the things needed to get done before we had company, and he said, "By help, do you mean help you do the things or stay out of your way?"
It
Great question.
is.
Yeah.
And I said, "I love that you know that sometimes not asking me for extra things is helping me." And because there's nothing like trying to get a task done and you get interrupted 5 times because someone's like, I need food, I need this, and they have complete lack of awareness for the task at hand. Maybe that doesn't happen to you guys anymore, but certainly as a mom, the mental load of asking for help, and then everyone comes in the living room and then they say, what do you want us to do? That adds another layer of mental stress. Now I not only do I have to manage myself, but now I have to assign you and manage your tasks as well. And so sometimes if I don't have the bandwidth for that or the patience or any number of reasons, I might just say, the best way you can help me is to not ask for anything while I'm cleaning.
Right.
And the best way you can
Right.
help is to, solve your own problems for 30 minutes, right? And so much of this is
Yeah.
like idealistic. Yeah. In a great, perfect world, people would just come in and they'd know what to do. But that doesn't happen all the time. And especially with kids that are neurodivergent, task overwhelm is a real thing in our home. So guiding people, it's not micromanaging them or a lack of good parenting that my son doesn't know how to self-start. It's part of his executive functioning that dysfunctions sometimes, and he needs some helpful steps. He needs to learn those executive functioning skills that help him start a task, because he also struggles with task overwhelm. So in a house of neurospicy, as they call it, people, sometimes the best thing we can do for each other is just to be open and honest and say, I'm not defined by this, but I am experiencing this at 100% right now. Um,
Yeah.
and and differentiating between using your current circumstances as an excuse to get out of doing something, and then normalizing that I can be dysregulated and still take actionable steps towards doing what needs to be done. I can feel like I want to yell at you right now and I can choose not to, right?
Right.
And that is, something that we try to do in our house, is just asking for what you need is a big part of self-care. Doesn't mean that we can always accommodate you, but it is that it's letting me know a lot about where you're at and how I can support you.
Right.
Um, so yeah,
That's good.
I
That's
really
good.
totally relate to being hit with that moment of going, I've hit my saturation point. Something is going to have to be recalibrated.
Yep. Yep.
So I'm kind of curious. I'm always interested to learn more about the differences between the male and female psyche. So I'd like you to delve in, if you don't mind, to the difference, like how. So what's self care look like for you as a mom of three, and then potentially what does self care look like for a single, woman, as you said at the very first of the call,
Mm-hmm.
the podcast. Can you dive into some of that stuff? Because I'm curious, as a guy, I'm curious. Okay, well, if I'm dating a girl, married to a girl, whatever the case might be, um, what does she need? I mean, I think I'm a good communicator and try to communicate well, but maybe she doesn't. You know what I mean? I'm not inside her head, so.
Yeah. So I can only speak to my particular way that I see the world and the way I've experienced the world. But self care has looked different as a single person and then married and without kids and then married with kids. It's looked different for me. But one thing I can say is, as a neurodivergent person, so it'd be different for someone who's neurotypical. But for me, it's never the same. So I have to create variety in order to create success for myself. So I have may do, must do lists of what I must do every day versus things I may do, and then things that I like rewards that I can do if I'm able to manage the other things, because task overwhelm is a real thing. So if I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I have to get showered, I have clients today, like time management's really essential for me and setting timers for tasks that need to be done. So it would be, I know that I can shower really, really fast, but I also know that I'll like push it to be the last thing in the day. Like I would shower, like say I have to be somewhere at noon and I wake up at 5 and I have all these projects to get done. I might wait until like 11 to get showered so I can do that at the end. For me, self-care would be prioritizing taking the shower at the beginning, starting with the shower and making sure that that gets done so I won't be tempted to skip it if I get too overwhelmed or too busy. So as a single person, time would be a self-care, taking time for myself and being in silence. As a married person, I could still get alone time, but as a mom of 3, it doesn't really happen a lot that I get alone time. It's like more so now because they're in school, but now working with clients, I'm always usually with someone. So I have to create a pseudo alone experience. So what is it that I like about being alone? No noise, no interruptions, that kind of stuff. So what I do for myself is part of my self-care is I don't listen to music in the car. I just let that be total silence time. I don't, let's see, some other forms of self-care for me are wearing earplugs around the house. Sometimes if I feel like my energy is low or I'm easily irritated, if I'm feeling a little overstimulated, I'll do that to regulate. Things that I really must do is feed myself and drink water. I know those sound so like basic, but they are very difficult for me to do. I'm constantly negotiating with whether I need a snack now or I can get a snack later. If I should take a drink of water now or I'll remember later. And drinking water is like something that I don't think I'll ever love doing. And I think that's a mistake people make, is trying to make the boring stuff in life fun. And for me, that's never going to be fun to drink water. So it just has to be converted in my brain to a discipline. It's a mandatory thing you have to do. This is a discipline for me. A friend of mine, and the difference between that is like take reading. A friend of mine said that one day, like, I'm so impressed with how much you read. And I said, oh, really? And she's like, yeah, but it's always like the good stuff. You never read like entertainment or anything like that. And I was like, yeah, because I don't like reading. And she was so shocked. I said, I don't like reading. I've never enjoyed reading. I'm not good at reading. I don't find it to be a stress relieving thing. Cozying up with a book is not what I would call self-care or fun. However, it is a discipline for me because I know that it's good to do. It's a good practice. So I attached something I don't enjoy doing with something I love, which is personal growth and development. So I only read books that move me forward in life or that can add value to my life. And so habit stacking is a form of self-care for me, taking things I don't like and pairing them up with something I do like to do. And trying to create some positive association. There are things that are just disciplines in the self-care world, the must-dos that are never going to be fun. Exercise, I'm not ever going to enjoy that. I'm just not. But it's a discipline for me to move my body. It does care for my body. It is caring for me so I can care for other people.
That's good. That's really good.
What about
All
you?
right, Justin. Yeah, single man.
Well, you'll probably hear me say this a lot, but the luxury of self-care, and when I say luxury, when I was living in the States, it was the things that need to be done, and you mentioned several of them, Jessica, but like hydration, water, food, exercise, those are all things that have always been really important to me. So I have this acronym. You guys have heard me say it, but it's ABSR, always be show ready.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've lived by for a long time. And it doesn't mean, well, what it means is, as someone who likes to, who coaches, someone who's a musician and also an actor and model, I could get, as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to make money. Like
Yeah.
you don't have a 9 to 5 to bank on. So if I get a random call and, hey, Justin, we want you to go out here on a boat and drive a boat and take your shirt off and look decent, right? And maybe that pays a lot of money, or maybe it pays a little money and I need the little money, whatever it is. It's like, I can't really not be ready, or I lose that money. And so, but beyond the money, it is also mental and emotional. Like, I want to bring 110% to my coaching, and I want to be there paying me for their time. And I think
You
time is
bet.
the most valuable thing we have. And it's the only finite thing, right? And so I want to make sure I bring 110%. So always be show ready means I show up ready to kick ass for these people. So that was all very important. It's always been important to me, but it was a luxury. And now, so here's an example. So I told you guys I had quite a bit of travel last week, so I went from Rabat, Morocco to Madrid, stayed in a room with 3 other guys in Madrid. You were talking about your son making noises that drive you crazy. Why? Having 3 other people that snore and fart and burp and make noises in the middle of the night, and you've been on very little sleep because you've been on
Yep.
airplanes and trains and automobiles, it makes you, contemplate murder. You know what I mean? Not that I would,
Boy,
of
do
course.
I know. I know. They call them
Um,
throat punching around here.
oh man, it's like, and so I didn't get much sleep, and then I got to Madrid, and I mean, this is all like super blessed stuff. Like, I'm not complaining, but there is an element of stress there. And also, you're in hotels. Maybe you're near a grocery store, maybe not. And so, like, really, it's become a grind. Like, I'm having all this wonderful experience and lots of opportunity to explore cultures and see cool things. But I have to sit here. I start in the morning and I plan, okay, where can I go get food? Even if I can't buy groceries, and like, can I even cook where I'm at? Some places, no. Some places, yes. How do I get proper nutrition? I have this amazing water bottle that filters water, and I'm not trying to do too many plastic bottles for the environment and for all the microplastics. So hydration is a whole new thing now. Supplements are kind of non-existent. I've got a couple things I can get a hold of occasionally. And then where's the gym? So, like, here's an example. So I traveled and I got to Madrid and I was pretty beat. And there's a really great guy here I met from Sweden, and he's like, hey, he's been here for quite a while, and he knows all the cool places. So he's like, hey, I want to take you out and let's go do some stuff. And I haven't in Morocco, no drinking, like, and Mark, like you, like, no drinking, no smoking, like very healthy diet. And that country, you don't do any of that stuff anyway. It's all illegal, right? You can get a hold of it, but so anyway, drinking is not illegal, but
That's
you're
the
not supposed
last thing you need.
for sure. So I've been pretty straight laced, and when we go out and we party a couple nights in a row, like hard, right? And what happens to me if I don't take care of my baseline is, even though, again, I'm enjoying all this experience, but it also is like a physiological, emotional, a mental grind, because I'm alone in a way I've never been alone.
Yep.
People don't always understand me. I don't understand them. Um, the food, it just, the whole thing is, I mean, the food's amazing, but it's different. And so uh, if I drink and I'm off my mark, I get really anxious and I get depressed and I start worrying about crap that may or may not be reality. And yesterday, man, I hit a wall. Like, I was pretty down. Like, I called a buddy. I'm like, hey man, I need phone a friend here. Like, you got to coach me up, because I know everything's good, but I haven't worked out in over a week. It's been hard to find good nutrition. I drank and I was off, man, like, not good.
Yeah.
And I'm out here, halfway across the globe. I've got nothing familiar here, And so today I got up. Last night I went and I walked 20 minutes up a steep hill, because the mountains are here where I'm at. So I walk 20 minutes in an elevate, straight up a hill, and I find a grocery store. Okay. I'm tired. I'm hungry. My mentally not there very well. And I go into this, I found a really cool market, but it's all in Spanish. So I'm using ChatGPT. I'm using Google Translate with the employees that work there. I'm famished, so I'm already hangry, right? As I've waited too late to do this. And I get groceries, and I come back. And so this morning I had groceries. So I cook a little bit, I get some fresh fruit, and I go, and then I look up a gym. I go to the gym and get prepared for this call. You know what I mean? So like what used to be a luxury, the fitness, the nutrition, the water, the supplementation, that always was essential for me, but it's become more essential than ever for me to even keep my head straight just to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's a non-negotiable for me. And if I don't do it, I'm in bad shape. Like, I like to look good, and there's a vanity aspect and all that stuff too. But like Mark, you were talking about how you've got your own, whatever you call that. What's that? Jessica or somebody chime in. Whenever the way you look at yourself is like inaccurate. It's
Yeah, the dysmorphia.
boom. And so like I'm in the gym, right? And I'm
Body
recording some,
dysmorphia. Body.
yeah. And I think by all, most people would maybe say, hey man, you look pretty good and stuff like that. But like I get in the gym and I'm doing recording some content, for my clients to be like, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's a little bit of a workout. And I'm like looking and I'm like, man, I'm embarrassed to record the content because I've lost some muscle size. I've lost weight because I'm not eating enough. I'm underhydrated. So I thought, I got wrinkles all over, right? It looked like a raisin. Jessica, you said otherwise. Thank you. And so like I didn't want to record, but I'm like you, Mark. I'm like, dude, this is what it is, man. This is what it is. And so, I think it's just, if we don't take care of our mind, body, and spirit, I'm going to drop one more thing in here really quick. And it speaks to you, Mark, on your cannabis fast. And, I've talked about it, I think, on other episodes, and I'll say it here again, how I've done a couple of long fasts with no social media, no TV, no sex, no sugar, no cannabis, no booze, anything, right? Well, the last one I did was before I took off for this trip. I really wanted to have my head pretty straight. And it was really hard. I don't know why it was the toughest one, maybe because I had all this other stress of like getting ready to leave the country. And that's when I really wanted sugar and cannabis and maybe a drink in the evening and stuff like that. But it was tough. But I'm doing this whole thing because I want to learn why people on the planet are depressed and anxious and like
Yep.
not jiving right now, right?
Right.
So I pulled over in a Walgreens and I really hit a wall one day and I felt like an alien. Like, why has the world gone crazy? And so I spent a little time with ChatGPT and I was like, okay, how many people on the planet are compromised mentally and physically in some way via some kind of compound, right? So first and foremost, you got to look at caffeine, because everyone drinks caffeine. And then you have tobacco, and then you have alcohol, and you have cannabis, and you have cocaine, you have heroin, you have porn, and you have Instagram, and you have all the stuff that's going on. And then you've got things that sometimes people really need, which are antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds. So ChatGPT, after digging, was like, well, right now, you being completely clear-headed and clear-minded, you're about 0.01 of the human population. And I got to thinking, man, like, no wonder
Yeah.
we're not like syncing up, because everyone's compromised in some way, mentally or physically. Sometimes people need that. But
Right.
anyway, that's my
Right.
self-care, and it's a non-negotiable. Otherwise, I'm in bad shape.
I would agree. And
Yeah.
like the one thing I have to tell myself every day is that when I do my may do, must do, it's you must drink water before you do anything else, right? And then after you drink
Yep.
the water, you can have the caffeine, right? And so on that would be like, and I also have mine separated into low function and high functioning days. So if I was in like a high functioning day, I may need 1 cup of water. That would be a must do before I drink my caffeine, which I know you just said caffeine, but that's my drug of choice. And then on
No
a low
judgment.
functioning day, I would need to drink 2 cups of water before I could have that. So
Mm-hmm.
there's things for me that I know when I'm in a low functioning day, and that may be because I stayed up late, or I had a really heavy workload one day. There's a number of reasons why I would be in a more low functioning day than a high functioning day. And so on a low functioning day, I have like an ice list in case of emergency list. It has the kind of snacks that I would eat. I know that sounds very remedial, but there are days where I'm just like, I don't want to think about one more thing. So why would I try to think about what I want to eat? Here's the ice list for what do you want to eat. Here's the snacks you like. Go get that
Mm-hmm.
snack. You know,
Mm-hmm.
here's a simple meal for dinner tonight. You know, there's the things that are there that when my reached my mental capacity, I have a cheat sheet so that it's not one more thing that I have to do. And that's really been a game changer for me as a parent, as a wife, as a human being. Just having that awareness of what I need and being bold enough to ask for it and to do it instead of thinking it's going to be fine, it's going to be fine. You know, my acronym for fine is feelings inside not expressed. And
Mm.
so if you're telling yourself like avoiding self-care or doing the thing, it's going to be fine if I skip the gym. It'll be fine if I skip breakfast. It'll be fine if I don't have time to, you know, shower before this. That's feelings inside not expressed. It's going to get trapped. Self-care is a way of making sure that you get to show up as your most authentic self on the good days and the bad days. And it's essential, like you said, it's so essential. But I think we've been commercialized to think self-care is going and getting your nails done, going and getting your hair done, you know, having the latte, having the this. And those things are fun.
Mm-hmm.
Hey,
Massages are great. I love
mm,
massages. I love them. But after the massage, I still have to go back to reality. So sometimes self care looks more like cleaning your house because you get to come
all right.
home to a space that's organized and safe haven for yourself. Sometimes it's skipping the nail salon and choosing to take a extra shower and shave your legs. You know, like there's just different seasons of self care. We just got to make sure that we're not substituting real self care with cosmetic self care,
Yeah.
temporary
Do you
self care.
do you think? Hey, time check. Are we at? Is it 5 to 10?
Yep, we need to wrap it up. Yep.
Well, what I thought we could do is could we do a minute, and we each get a minute and do a day in the life of what a perfect day would look like. I'll go
Love it.
first, for example. Um,
Okay.
so for me, as far as self care goes, if I'm looking at being whole, uh, whole health, complete health, it starts with sleep. So if I go to bed at 9 o'clock, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. So good night's sleep. I got it, and for me that means a minimum of 6 hours. I would love to get 8. That's not, I don't do it very often. So a good night's sleep. I get up at 4 in the morning. My routine is some combination of I do a walk with a friend. I'm wearing a ruck vest now, a weighted ruck vest. I take some, I drink some water. I'll do an oil pool. Um, I do some study. I'll do some sort of quiet time or devotional time, reading some various texts, whether it's Bible or some religious text or literature or poetry. Um, I'll have I will do a meditation, a 20-minute meditation. Um, I'll study some languages. I'll do some practices of various things. But then I'll have a decent breakfast. I do work. I'll have a decent lunch. I have a decent dinner, and I repeat. Like those, if I can manage my nutrition, what goes into my body, um, what I keep out of my body is
Mm.
equally as important. But if I can stay as regulated as possible, hydration, of course, water throughout the day, exercise. So spiritual, mental slash emotional, physical, social time with people, but time in the quiet, an afternoon meditation or a time, possibly a 20-minute nap or something. Those are the things for me that keep me as I feel really happy and very content at the end of the day. Prayer, ending the day, beginning the day with gratitude and uh, just outward expression of those I care about and issues. So that's me. Who else?
Um,
Cool. Jessica,
Who's
go.
next?
Uh, Sleep is essential for me. A day in the life for me would be going to bed anywhere between 9 and 10. And we're in a season where we have teenagers, so they stay up a little bit later. It's not like I can just make you go to sleep. So if I'm fortunate enough not to get woken up, that's a great night. But because I'm just a mom, my mom ears are on all the time. Sometimes I'll go to bed at 9 and then at 11 I have to go shut down the house because somebody's gotten up for something and the lights are on and that wakes you up, that kind of thing. So I get up about 5:30 every morning, between 5 and 5:30. I have to start my day out with prayer, and so I try to do that before I even get out of bed. So I actually have two alarms set because sometimes I'll start praying and I fall back asleep. So I have like a little backup
Mm-hmm.
that'll kick me if I don't get out of bed. But I find if I get out of bed before saying a prayer in the morning, it kind of gets scooted to the back of the list. So I had try to do that before I even get out of the bed. Is just be thankful and grateful, and reach over, touch the hubby, and connect with him. He's still sleeping at that time, but just grounding myself for the day. I get up, go straight to the fridge and get a glass of water, grab my coffee, my caffeine choice, whatever that happens to be for that morning. I keep that as a variable. And then I go sit and I will go over the list for the day of what needs to be done. But I get up at least 30 to 45 minutes before the rest of the house. That is a huge thing that has to happen for me to feel like I'm ready for the day. If I get up at the same time as the other people in the house, I feel behind. So
Yeah.
this is real. That's like that has to happen. The details of how that happens are sometimes negotiable, but that's a core thing. Then I pack the lunches and get the breakfast for everybody. Then take the car line drop off. So that usually takes me an hour every morning. Get back to the house, and then I have already got like that morning time. I've set the task up for when I get back. So then I start my work for the morning work. I usually take a brain break around 11, between 11 and 12, and I'll go lay down, put my face mask on, and I just have quiet, closed eye work. Like maybe a nap, maybe not, but there's just a 20-minute brain break in the morning, and then in the afternoon I do that as well. Lunches, food, make sure I eat some lunch. That time frame varies between 11 and 1 every day. My work day is usually done by 2 o'clock because I start car line pickups at 2:30, and that goes all the way till 4. That's a lot longer in the afternoon. But I use certain tasks, like I check in on social media, emails, and stuff like that, get done from car line because those are things I have to do. Like I've tried to double up that. And then when I come home at 4, everybody gets like 30 minutes of kind of reset and recover. And then I start making dinner. And so, and that's like a perfect day, right? There's definitely days where it's not that structured. That would be a high functioning day. Low functioning day would be like, a little bit different. It would be a lot later. We'd eat probably closer to 7 because it takes me that much longer to get everything done. But we don't have, then I try not to do any kind of evening work. Sometimes I have to, but I find that it jacks my brain up. And so if I have evening meetings, things I have to do at night, it could delay going to sleep till 11 or 12 because my brain is activated. So I really try to make post dinner time a wind down time for the day and get myself prepped for going to sleep.
Beauty.
What
Cool.
about you?
Justin, finish us off here, buddy.
Mine definitely starts the night before. You guys have kind of alluded to that too. I have to set up my day for the next day. Otherwise, I'll just get
Yep.
up and I'll be kind of aimless. Even though I've been
Yes.
practicing this for a long time, many years, it's like maybe your brain's just not on, or you get up and you're stressed for whatever reason, you get distracted. So I plot the day before, which is relates to personal stuff and then professional stuff. So the following gets set the night before. And my bedtimes right now vary based on where I'm at, what the travels are, what the time changes are and stuff. But I try to really hit 7 to 8 hours, and I usually hit that, which might mean to bed earlier or to bed later, up earlier, whatever. But I get up in the morning, oral care, water. I do this thing called AO scan just to I don't know, dials me in, connects me a little bit. And then I go make food, usually kind of a light, pretty specific pre-workout situation. And then I try to find a nearby gym or go out on a walk or go out on a jog, just try to get my blood moving because I feel like the blood in my brain helps and everything
Mm.
like that. Plus, quite frankly, it helps
Hmm.
with when you're traveling, like your GI can get messed up
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. It kind of keeps
Right.
my GI track, in a routine. Um, Come back and shower and all that, and then I eat like a proper breakfast. And then that day, maybe I'm exploring that day, or maybe I get to work. But usually, the vast majority of the early and mid morning is dedicated to self care. And then the rest of the day, again, gets into other personal stuff, exploring, and then business. And then at night, if I've done a good job, I'll go out and socialize, especially wherever
Yeah.
I'm at. And if I
Yeah.
haven't done a good job and I'm all in my head and all stressed and I somehow the whole day went to crap, then I'll kind of like discipline myself and stay back and like try to catch up on things because I'm trying to,
Yeah.
um, maybe it seems like I'm on vacation, but I'm not. Like there's a lot of things there's revenue streams I'm building and still coaching, and obviously we have Big Ideas podcast, and so it's kind of a lifestyle more than a vacation. So I still have to be really disciplined. So that's
Yeah.
what's up. And then I've got kind of an evening wind down routine, and then try to get to bed.
That's great. That's
Well, I
great.
love that the consistency and the fact that we're all aware that successful outcomes, successful caring for yourself starts the night before. It's not reactive, it's proactive, it's responsive to life, not reactive to life. And I think if people are listening, my encouragement to you, if you're trying to find what does self-care look like to you, if you're struggling with caring for yourself before caring for others, or caring for yourself feels privileged or like a luxury or any of that stuff, or it sounds different from you, or you've been someone who's tried to create routines for yourself and you just always end up in a self-shaming cycle because you're not able to stick to it. Just start with one thing that helps you be the best version of you. Just one thing,
Yep.
if
Yep.
that's brushing your teeth every morning is a non-negotiable for you, then do that, but have
Yep.
something that anchors you that says, I care about you. Remember that you are still experiencing life for the first time every single day, just like everybody else. And the
Yep.
older we get, the more life we live, there's that tendency to think, I should already know this. I should already be good at this. And you're still a human that's experiencing every single day for the first time, just like everybody else.
Hmm.
So be gracious, be kind to yourself. Those are the intangible things that are
Hmm.
part of caring for yourself. And find that anchor in your day. Find just one thing that you can do that you're going to say, this is what caring for you today looks like. Um, that
Love
would be
that.
my advice, my takeaway for everybody is just to love yourself and give yourself permission to keep trying and keep being fresh to this new day that you're experiencing. It's a gift.
That's great. I love that.
Well, until next time, thanks for listening to the Big Ideas podcast. You can find that on all of your favorite platforms. Thank you for giving us your time and spending a little bit with us today. And next up, Mark's going to be our host, and can't wait to hear what you have to bring us.
I can't either.
See you guys soon.
See
See
ya.
ya. Bye.